disrespected our nation's armed forces and veterans, and his disrespect for Mr. Khan and his family is just unacceptable.
Let me say, I know this has been much in the news of late, in the last few days. But as I said last night, as Donald Trump said Saturday night, Captain Khan is an American hero, and we honor him and honor his family.
An exchange as covered by NBC News at a town hall involving Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence and Catherine Byrne, whose son is an active staff sergeant in the Air Force. You heard the crowd grow somewhat restive. What we did not hear was Mike Pence saying to the crowd, "This is what freedom looks like. This is what freedom sounds like." And on that note, why don't we welcome back the man for whom this program is named, Steve Malzberg at the new Newsmax New York. It is good to be with you again, Padna.
Well, it's great to have you, and of course everybody's going to stay tuned for your show, which airs right after the Steve Malzberg show nightly at 8 p.m. Eastern, and you've been doing double duty, and I really appreciate that. Let's welcome in our friend Julio Rivera right now. Julio, everybody knows, is a host of the Julio Rivera Show on Spreaker.com. He's also a Newsmax Insider, conservative activist. And Julio, for those who don't know, you are a Cruz supporter. Tell me why people to this day, a top advisor to Governor Christie in New Jersey today, she's been his top advisor for years, says she's not supporting him. The media is hungry. A congressman from New York said he's going to vote for Hillary. General Jonathan Allen, he's going to vote for Hillary. Why is it that Republicans can't see what you saw and understand that it's all about the Supreme Court, it's all about the future of our nation for the next 40 years. If Hillary gets in, as she said the other day, every one of our rights is subject to reasonable restrictions, and she'll be the one to decide what's reasonable. You see that. Why can't everybody see that?
You know what? I don't know. This is probably the most bitterest and ugliest primary that I can remember in recent history. I mean, whoever you were behind, people were 100% behind. I certainly was 100% behind Senator Cruz. But at a certain point, you have to do what's right. I mean, the Supreme Court is far too important. It's not just the Supreme Court. I'm worried about the Attorney General position. I'm worried about the Secretary of State position. The state of the world today is where it is right now because of Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, President Obama's foreign policy. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about that. I don't want an IRS that tries to stifle political free speech the way that they did with conservatives. You can't have activism on the Supreme Court. All these things are a lot more important than being disappointed that you didn't get your perfect candidate in.
Hey, we want to remind everybody, Julio, that we would welcome their phone calls right now at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. You know, it's very interesting, Julio, to see the double standard. We touched on it a bit earlier in the program. Pat Smith, the mother of Sean Smith, who died at Benghazi, was lied to by Hillary, and there is very little coverage from the alphabet networks. In fact, according to Media Research Center, there has been 50 times the coverage of the Khan family at the Democrat convention and all the subsequent media-driven controversy about that. Why do you think Mrs. Smith has been basically ignored?
Well, because it doesn't fit into the liberal media's narrative. And we have to remember the alphabet and about 90% of the media, at least, leans to the left. They want Hillary Clinton to win. That's the media that's constantly attacking Donald Trump. At the end of the day, they're gonna look the other way on the WikiLeaks emails. They're gonna look the other way on Benghazi. And they're going to look the other way at the fact that the Democratic nomination, in a sense, was rigged. Debbie Wasserman Schultz did everything she could to impede Bernie Sanders. They decided who was going to be their nominee, and it wasn't really much to do with what the people wanted. So at the end of the day, whatever they can do to advance that narrative, they're going to go ahead and do. They're going to protect Hillary Clinton. She's obviously the chosen one. And unfortunately,
Right.
I mean, I feel really, really bad for Susan Smith. I mean, to make that ultimate sacrifice, and the Khan family made the ultimate sacrifice as well. But it's really not fair, and it's only in an effort to protect somebody who shouldn't even be on a national ticket based on her criminal history.
Why don't we
Right,
go to the phone?
and I just
Well,
wanna-
go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out that the DNC CEO and others, including the one who wrote the Bernie Sanders Jewish atheist email, he and she, they're both resigned today. This should be huge news. And you know what? I want everyone who interviews Hillary Clinton, so mark this down, JD and Julio, when you guys interview Hillary Clinton, Chris Wallace did a good job, but he didn't ask her this. How could you reward Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was in charge of that fixed DNC, the racist emails, and you made her honorary chairman of your campaign immediately? That's something she's got to be asked. And I wish Trump would bring that up.
Well, I'll tell you what, gents, that's a very valid point. I've got it down on my list of questions for Hillary. Somehow, it would be interesting if she showed up here on Newsmax TV. Tell you what, let's go to the phones at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629, and let's go to Johnstown, Pennsylvania. That's where Mark has been waiting patiently. Hi, Mark.
How you doing, JD?
Doing great, sir.
Hey, thanks for taking my call here.
You bet.
Yeah, I just want to comment on why isn't Trump capitalizing on these emails? Who's advising him? He's just all over the place, and he's just got to stop that Twittering. It's just so frustrating to listen to this.
So in other words, he needs to focus. Yeah. He needs to focus on things, right, Mark?
And it's the whole time. Steve's he can't focus. I don't know who's advising him.
Well, it's interesting, Steve, because that stream of consciousness was working early, was it not?
Yes, but he doesn't listen to anybody, so it doesn't matter who's advised. The only people he'll listen to, I hope, are his children. But Julio, homophobic, racist, bigoted, sexist emails, anti-Jewish emails. In addition, shouldn't Donald Trump be out there reading a line from every one of those emails? Because there's about 5 or 6 that fit those categories, one each. Shouldn't he be on the trail reading from those?
Exactly. I mean, he has 13 to 14 weeks, whatever it is, to make up, I guess, a lead. The Hillary Clinton right now has an 8-point lead in a most recent poll that I saw earlier. He needs to make that ground up. He needs to push the narrative of, exposing the emails. That's a big one. The other thing I think that he needs to do personally, though, is I really do think that he needs to go out there and try to court the Republicans that aren't supporting him right now. It seems like he's speaking more to independents, and he's trying more to bring centrists under, I guess, his tent than he is, the hardcore conservatives and Republicans. But a combination of both would certainly give him a bump in the last 13, 14 weeks we have left, Steve.
Well, I tell you what, got about a minute 30 left to take another call. Let's go to Paisley, Florida, and welcome Fred to the program. Hi, Fred.
Hi, very much. I appreciate you letting get on.
Yes, sir.
And I want to tell you why I support Donald Trump and my rationale.
Okay, go ahead.
He said one thing, that he must control our borders.
Amen.
Immigration. He must. That is the only reason why enough to tip the scales. The other thing is he is better knowledgeable from any general or admiral because, and I will tell you for a fact, I was a Navy captain. When you go to the 6th Naval District, that admiral is interested in his fleet, what's going on in the Med. The Air Force has another perspective. The focal point of the President of the United States is he has the ability to ask any question that he wants, and he can expect a top secret reply. I was in security. Top secret is literally top secret.
And Fred, I got to tell
All right.
you, we thank you for your service and what you have to say
Thank you, Fred.
about Trump and the border. And you know, Steve and Julio, that has been the absolute issue where Trump was different from just about everybody else and it ended up carrying the day. Julio Rivera of Conserva Rican. It's great to have you tonight. I believe from Hackettstown, New Jersey, if memory serves, as you Skype
Yes,
in.
sir.
It's great to have you. Steve, as always, I hope that new Newsmax New York is working out pretty well. There is one programming note that I have to insert right here. You may recall as of June 1st, Newsmax TV was discontinued on Dish and is now unavailable to its subscribers. Obviously, we're disappointed by that decision. And obviously, with this critical election coming up, it's important to note that Newsmax TV did not charge Dish to carry our network. In fact, we financially benefited Dish and their customers. If you're as disappointed in this as we are, give them a call right here at 1-800-700-4376 and tell them to bring back Newsmax TV. We're coming back with more after